CASEL's definition and how we understand social and emotional learning. So this definition has been updated about, gosh, almost a year ago now. The definition now is the process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, to manage their emotions and achieve personal and collective goals, to feel and show empathy for others, to establish those positive relationships, and to make good decisions. You all may be familiar with the research on SEL, and there's a lot of research on our website that our research team has been synthesizing and conducting. These are some of the high-level outcomes that we've seen, and this has been well documented, that SEL leads to improved academic outcomes and behaviors, that SEL benefits are not short-term, but they are actually long-term, and that we see benefits globally. We know that investing in SEL is a wise financial investment. There's research that suggests that investment in SEL has an 11-to-1 return on investment. And we also know that it's not simply about outcomes in school, but long-term life outcomes. So if you're in when we think about why schools and districts implement SEL, we've learned that schools and districts have a number of different priorities for why they see SEL as a key part of their mission. These are some examples of the kinds of priorities that school districts have that they really feel like their SEL implementation is designed to advance. In some cases, schools are focused on the benefit of SEL to their academic achievement. Others are really focused on college and career readiness, workforce readiness. We see a growing number of schools and districts who are understanding that SEL can play a critical role in their equity work. Obviously, mental health is a key priority across the nation, especially in the wake of the pandemic. And also really understanding that SEL is foundational to civic learning and civic engagement. These are just a few of the different priorities that we've seen. And we really do believe that every school should examine what their local priorities are and what their vision is for their young people, and then think about their SEL implementation as part of advancing that mission. These 5 competencies are interrelated, and they are critically important, and they sort of within each one, there's a number of examples of things that would be sort of exemplars of that competency. Let's start in this orange section with the self. So when we think about self-awareness, we think about how do we understand who we are, how we feel, what we value, what our growth mindset might be, what is our sense of purpose, what matters to me. This is really about how we understand ourselves and our own thoughts and beliefs and values. And this is critically important that we really take time to reflect on who we are. And also on the self-management, this has to do with how we behave as an individual. How do we manage those emotions? How do we manage stress? How do we manage our impulses? How do we stay focused? How do we have perseverance in the face of obstacles? How do we stay organized? How do we take initiative? How do we understand that we have power to make a difference? All of this is part of our sort of self-management and understanding who we are and how we behave given what we understand about ourselves. So let's next move into the green zone, which is where we really think about others. In social awareness, this is where we really begin to understand how other people think, how other people feel. Can we read body language? Can we tell how people are feeling? Can we put ourselves in their shoes to really understand their perspective? Can we express gratitude? Can we create and experience a sense of belonging with others? Do we understand what the social norms and demands are at any given time and what's going on around us? That's all the social awareness. And then, of course, it's how do we engage with others in all of that? So how do we communicate effectively? How do we demonstrate cultural competence? How do we build positive and healthy relationships? How do we manage conflict? How do we ask for help when we need it? How do we offer help when we see that others need it? What kind of leadership we have here? And really, are we willing to engage with others and stand up for others when we see that there's a need for that? So the green zone is about how we understand others and how we engage effectively with them. And then we put that all together to make responsible decisions. So are we being curious to learn more about situations and analyzing what could be consequences of different decisions? Are we able to solve problems on our own and together? Are we able to sort of be ethical in how we behave? Are we able to reflect on my role and what role I can play in the broader community? That's the responsible decision making. So these are the different competencies and skills that we know are foundational to success in school, success in the workplace, and success in life. And when we want to promote these within school, there's a lot of different ways that we would do that. There are key settings that are critically important as we think about a systemic approach to promoting social and emotional competence. The first and obvious one is the classroom. Here's where you would find curriculum that's designed to teach those skills. You would find opportunities for a positive classroom climate and ways that we're engaging together. Also within the school, there are opportunities to promote social and emotional competence throughout the building in terms of how the school climate and how the adults are interacting with each other. There are also really important opportunities as we partner with families and caregivers to work together to promote healthy social and emotional competence for our young people and to relate positively to families and caregivers and throughout our community. So here's where we would really want to align our efforts with community partners and also think about how we can contribute to our communities through service learning and what have you. So this model is CASEL's model for school-wide SEL, where we are promoting these social and emotional competencies within these different environments, and we're coordinating the practices and policies within the different environments so that we are promoting what we call a systemic approach.